Hello, do you want to hear a story about how a school decided to break disability guidelines and really pissed me off? Because that's this story. Let's start with a quick backstory. I have 2 elementary age kids. They walk to school, they eat school breakfast, and then go out on the playground and play with their friends. Yep, that's this awesome backstory. Anyways, it's a little bit more complicated for one of them because he is a type 1 diabetic. And so that means when he gets to school, I set it up so that the school checks his blood sugar to make sure he doesn't, pass out on the playground. And then they give him insulin for the breakfast because he's an insulin dependent diabetic. He has to have insulin to eat, otherwise food could kill him. Well, the middle of last year, the nurse comes to me and she informs me that there was a meeting over winter break, a meeting that I knew nothing about. And during this meeting, they determined that they could no longer do anything before school technically started. So they could not check his blood sugar, nor could they give him insulin. And they said that they couldn't do it because it would be a liability. I was freaking pissed. So I contacted the American Diabetes Association and they emailed me back and they sent basically an email that explained the American Disabilities Act and how it pertained to diabetes in specifics. One of those specifics being the fact that schools are supposed to accommodate disabilities, and that includes before and after school activities, including all meals. They even underlined this part for me because they wanted to make sure that I knew he was covered. It also explained how to resolve issues with schools, and that was also very helpful. So then I sent a letter into the school. Well, I just dropped it off, and in it I asked for a meeting to discuss the non-compliance with his 504 that we had already laid out. And then in passing, when I saw the principal, I mentioned that I'm fairly certain that you were breaking federal guidelines. She was shocked. She's like, "Oh, really?" Because the district just came at us with this, so I didn't know if we could fight this or not. I was suppressing my inner rage beast and was very, very polite. I mentioned the email that I got from the American Diabetes Association because they are my people now. And she asked if I could forward that to her, and I said, sure. So I did. But at the bottom of this email, I just want to point out there were a couple of things that it mentioned we could do if we were done dealing with the school itself. The first of which was to file an official OCR complaint. Now, an OCR complaint is the Office of Civil Rights complaint, and if they were to come and investigate the school, what could happen is if they were found to be in violation of his rights as an individual and as a disability or disabled person, they could severely fine the school and or shut it down. Now, the other thing at the bottom of this letter was instructions on how to get an attorney to freaking sue the school because they're being assholes. It mentioned it in polite and nice terms and not like I just mentioned it. After this email was forwarded to the principal as per her request, things were resolved so quickly. The morning before the meeting, I got a phone call saying, "We are going back to exactly how we were doing everything before. Do you still want to have a meeting? Because we're going back and we're doing everything as you explicitly instructed us to do beforehand." And I politely declined the meeting because you know what? They were going back. So I just really want to thank the American Diabetes Association because you guys rock. And one last takeaway on this, a couple months later, there was another kid that moved to the school and she happens to be diabetic. And know what? She gets to just eat breakfast and be a kid and get her insulin and taken care of without any fight at all. I didn't realize it at the time, but standing up for my kid's rights and what was right for him was actually also standing up for her rights, this kid that I'd never even met before in my life. And in the end, that actually felt pretty good. Well, that's it, so have an awesome day.